check you. It's not like you can just say, I'm off gang, I don't want to be in the gang. They'll check everything. They see who you talk to, they'll check your mail. It's very serious. And then after you've done that for 2 years, then they'll say that you're off the gang. And if you're in a more serious gang, like a security threat group, like, there are so many of them. The Aryan Brotherhood, the Crips, the Bloods, the Azteca, Barrio Azteca, they'll lock you up in seg, and you have to go, and that's a horrible thing. And then you'll in segregation, all by yourself for 23 hours a day with it's horrible. And then you have to go through grad, and that takes years. You're going to do a lot more time if you're a gang member. They don't lock the Crips and the Bloods up. They lock everybody else up. Certain security threat group gangs, not Q-Stone or Tango. Those guys are they're not considered security threats, but they still look really bad. You're going to have a very hard time making parole as a gang member, even if it's not one of the security threat groups. So try to get out of the gang. Get some support letters while you're on bond. Like I said, line up a job. Even if you don't make bond, see if you can, get somebody will offer you a job that makes you look good. And also see if you can pay for any type of outside classes or, get any type of certification that makes you look like you're able to fit in, or you're not just going to be a loser coming back to prison. That's, the guys that get set off. The guys that are trying and have something to them, and they can tell they're, wanting to better themselves, those guys might make it the first time. They have a better chance of making it the first time. This is kind of a strange one. If you have a victim, maybe apologize. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but say you're going to get 20 or 30 years for murder or 30 years for an aggravated crime, and you already know you're going to get it. It might be a good idea, and each case is different, to somehow apologize in court through proper channels, because even though you might not come up for parole for 15 years, I think people remember that. They remember, how you were when you got sentenced. They remember you saying sorry or not. And the reason that's important is because there's something called victim protests. Under the law, we do not get to know who protests in cases. It's actually a crime for them to divulge that information that there's a victim protest. And people that have victim protests end up doing often they can do their whole time. You can do, you might think this 18-year-old boy or 17-year-old boy is going to do 15 years on his 30, but he's really going to do 29 years on his 30. Yes?
Have you ever had an organization like Families of Murder Victims Against the Death Penalty arrange through any attorney that you know of kind of connection while the guy's in jail?
Oh, you mean, yeah, you can do that through the victim services. Sometimes it's up to the people, the victims. The victim can contact victim services and ask to meet with the client, and that's always a very good thing to do, victim mediation, because sometimes many times in those cases they will not protest. And a protest can keep you there for the whole time. And that's why you can't tell these people, take this Ag 30 on this murder, or this, you're only going to do half. You do right, you don't get in trouble, you're going to do half the time. You may very well end up doing all those years. Yes?
Right. Because there are organizations, that are not very good. I'm talking about that. And not just families of murder victims against the death penalty, but also, families of murder victims for reconciliation justice. These are national organizations.
Right.
They have arranged downtown getting serving as a mediator.
Yeah. They only go through victim services through TDC. That would be the only way, and you're not allowed to contact. You can. No, just through TDC is the only way that they will do that. They're not going to do it any other way. And as I said, a victim protest is what can keep you there for a very long time, like a DWI where somebody dies, intoxicated manslaughter. You can end up doing your whole time. You can also get a long set-off for those type of cases.
But the lawyer can contact victim services and say, hey, if you're not in touch, you know.
No, only the family of the victim can do that. There's no point in the lawyer contacting me. There would be no point in me ever contacting them. It would only be the victims that can contact the victim services. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know of them. I don't know any of those groups. Yeah. I think that's. Any questions? Any other? Yeah, it's on here. It's 713. It's 227-8376. I think that's it.